You know, it's the Rose freaking Wagner Theater. People are, you know, it's kind of upscale crowd.
Yeah.
With your shoes off and drinking. And my first thought was, okay, and we got a wristband.
Yeah.
My first thought was, because just the one little glass, I'm like, I hope they don't just cut us off at one. And the girls came around and like, cool, awesome, you know.
Yeah, free pour.
So I got a buzz on before the show even started. And then you go in the brain room.
Yeah.
And I like they're not like, they're kind of bowling ball eyeballs and wires all over and stuff.
They are bowling balls. I've been bowling with them.
And the chandelier is supposed to represent something.
Mm-hmm.
What?
The frontal cortex.
It's so like, it's so bizarre.
Yeah.
So like, I take acid for that. But and then that lady in there typing and she's working and I had to like talk to her. I couldn't resist.
Yeah.
You know, like, who are you? You look really busy. And she rattled off like some part of the brain that I didn't.
Good.
Did it freeze again? No, it didn't.
No, it's going. So you talked to her.
I talked to her and then looked around. When they're giving out, they're giving out candy too. It's like, it's like totally like
chocolate.
The audience is gonna, you know, have a good, say it was good, because you're like giving out. I like it. You're like giving out candies too, like the really good.
There's chocolate, champagne, beer, and presents. If you don't like my show, fuck off. What's wrong with candy, beer, chocolate, and presents? Right?
Yeah, we'll get to that. The present, I had an awkward thing. With
I keep giving them stuff. It's retarded. It's supposed to be a good time, right? It's all excuses to get people to interact. You know what I mean? And to get them to kick back and have fun. And
it's like the most fun I've ever. I mean, I don't know if the most, but it's like up there at a performance like that.
Mm-hmm.
You
Good.
know.
Well, it sounds like it was
so
effective.
Okay, and then you go in the brain room.
Yeah.
And then you go in. I can't even explain all the shit in the brain room. This like red carpeted sections of like padding, you know, and then so like the sections of the brain on the wall, you know. And, God, I can't even remember all of that. The chandelier and the lady typing and your assistants too. They're awesome.
Do they do a good job? Awesome.
Yeah. And
they're all actors from like some of them are from Weber State and they're actors and I use new people every place I go.
Really?
So yeah. So it changes all the time.
The stuff that one guy did is like I want to go through like step by step and explain how it was to give them an idea of how it was.
Okay, then
It don't freeze again.
Then we'll have to think in logical terms. So first, you're in the foyer area with the couches and champagne and people hanging out.
And then you go in the brain room. We're already in the brain room.
Then you go in the brain room.
All this stuff, and there's so much shit in the brain room, and it's so like trippy and everything. It's like you're inside of the brain. Bowling ball eyeballs with like wires hooked up to go back, and all the circuitry and stuff. And she's typing because she's like the controller or whatever of the brain. Okay, and so you go through that. You walk through. And the lovely, like, champagne and candy hostess is giving out. You get a nice champagne buzz.
Did you talk to anybody? Did you meet anybody?
I talked to the lady typing.
Yeah.
In the middle. I talked to her.
Yeah.
I had a couple of friends I went with. And my friend Phil that got into the show. Well, you know, my social thing as far as, like, meeting people at the art thing.
Who's your friend Phil?
Phil Jacobson. He used to write for City Weekly.
Okay.
And then, well, Albert and his dad.
Yeah.
Sitting by me, thinking. And, okay.
Through the brain room.
Through the brain room. And you go into the auditorium, and it's like, okay, there are these risers, bleachers, and then you're set like with your desk and stuff, which you told me is your actual real desk. And they're like empty. It's like this looks like my apartment, kind of empty Rockstar drinks all over the place, a half empty bottle of tequila, and Anyway, how did you get them to let you do the alcohol and the? Was that a? Awkward.
No, I paid.
You paid, okay.
Yeah, it was all legit through the DABC.
Okay.
I had a special event license.
Oh, you embarrassed.
I had insurance.
You had to have insurance. See, I thought that must have cost.
Oh yeah, it was a big money loser. That's okay. It was a good party.
Yeah, and so I was gonna say, like, Trent Harris premiered his new movie Delightful Water Universe, and he had cocktail waitresses giving out. He lost money. But he had cocktail waitresses giving out fruit punch.
Yeah, just fruit punch.
Yeah,
That sucks.
yeah. It was a fun time too. But anyway, and then did my light go?
Alcohol makes everything better.
Yes.
Makes my art better. Makes my audience more lively.
The audience was lively. The audience interaction part of it. You go in and you're in the lab coat, and I don't remember. You start talking about some stuff, and the theory. I think you introduced the theory a little bit, and then it's. So okay, some of the things you can talk about. Some stuff that you want to talk about, but just to run down like some of my favorite parts. The football, that was awesome, because you're talking about the way. Like these neurons in the brain, really it's about social interaction, and it's like I mean, this is what I get from it. I don't know that intelligence is a social function of communicating with. If there was only one human being, they would not have. If that was possible, there would not be what we consider intelligence, because
Your intelligence is social and emotional.
It's social and emotional context. And and so a lot of these things were just like demonstrating it in different ways, like examples.
Yeah.
Which was like interesting instead of, like, I mean, you had the guy explaining it a little bit.
Yeah.
But then
he's the literal anchor to like what that really is. I have these 3 sections, of Rama explaining what mirror neurons are, and I really wrestled with putting that in the piece, actually, because I was like, oh, it's too fucking literal. But I think people need the grounding wire, because I've had so many people thank me for putting those clips of it. And it's also funny and nostalgic, and it's on this AV card, and it's on a TV, and he's a very...
Yeah.
I don't know if you felt this way, but I find Rama to be a very engaging, animated speaker who has a way of explaining
it was not dry, really.
Complicated things in a pretty fun way. I mean, that's sort of his gift. He's sort of the antithesis of science, and a lot of times I'm mocking this dry. There's a part in the first clip where I let him ramble on and on and on, and that's funny about the football coming in, because they do get very self-indulgent about their research and kind of lose everybody. But he is explaining it.
The football, and you get like, it's like, but like to get into it totally, it's like, you made this point, it's like to get into it, you had to have the shirt on with the number.
Yeah.
You had to have